Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. Today we are talking all about what happens when you eat past fullness, whether it's intentional or unintentional, whether you're in the beginning stages of healing your relationship with food or the later stages, or what you feel like is you've kind of done it, but yet, oh no, now you had a hiccup. Well, that's what happened to me yesterday. I celebrated Greek Easter. Basically, it's just like regular Easter, just happens to be on a different calendar, and we have really great traditions. So if you follow me on Instagram at tips_with_Tony with an I, you got to see some really cool traditions like going to church at midnight and then breaking the fast and then eating super late. Like we pretty much had like cheese and bread and all these things at like 2 a.m. Then we go to sleep, we wake up, and then we have a full-blown Easter dinner. So obviously lots of eating and lots of scheduling that is kind of off my usual routine. But believe it or not, that wasn't the thing that really kind of I got hooked up on. What happened was actually at Easter dinner, so it wasn't so much like the timing of meals and anything like that. It was on Easter dinner. The dinner was perfection. Like when I tell you that my family really cooks very, very well, they cook very, very well. I had on my plate, I had a really nice plate of, it was lamb, potatoes, peas and onions, carrots, oh God, definitely string beans. I forget what else, some meatballs. It was just, so good. So good. And honestly, I was like, this is the best meal I've had in a really long time. Completely enjoyed it. And I was like thinking, should I go more? No, I was definitely full. My stomach was definitely full, but I really just wanted the flavor and I just wanted the taste. And usually I will always tell myself it's that good so I could have it again the next day or tomorrow, or later. I don't have to have it right then because I really don't like the way that fullness makes me feel. And I have a history of, I think my whole childhood was just that. And even in my young adulthood, it was lots of overeating, and also kind of like that was the norm. That was what I saw and what I thought was normal, until I kind of distanced myself away from certain events, and I started to realize, you know what? Actually, not everybody eats this way. This is not good, and we do not want to eat to a point where we feel really, really full or sick or sluggish. And I don't like this. I really don't like this. So, anyways, it's been a really long time since I got to that place. And so, what I didn't share with you is, okay, so I had that plate. It was really good. I was definitely full. My boyfriend's daughter, who was sitting next to me, she didn't finish her plate. Took some eggplant parm off of that. That was delicious. My boyfriend on my right-hand side, he didn't finish his plate, although they enjoyed it too, but fortunately, the people I hang around with the most now really will stop when they're full, so I'm not influenced by that either way. But anyways, he was full, so he didn't finish his food. So I was like, I could get a second plate, or I could just eat his. So I did that, and I had some of Amira's, my boyfriend's daughter, and I had some of Bruce's, which is my boyfriend. So basically, it was like I had 2 plates rather than 1, and it was like, that food it was heavy food. But it was delicious and it was great, but maybe 20 minutes after I realized like, oh wow, I really overdid it. And I stayed full till I definitely did not have dessert. I had a cup of coffee I was like a decaf to like help with my digestion a little bit. I was hoping maybe that would work. And I just was very uncomfortable. The drive home, I drive always because I get car sick, but it was like an hour drive home. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Like total food coma. Get back. My stomach's like really bothering me. Fortunately, went to the bathroom. Sorry if it's TMI, but had a bowel movement, which definitely helped me relieve some of that fullness. That's probably why I was feeling like extra full. But really just was like, I'm just going to sit here. I'm just going to lay here, whatever. I got to bed on a good decent hour, whatever. And you know what? Today's a new day. So why am I sharing that with you? I'm sharing this with you because older versions of me would not have handled that in that way at all. So I'm sharing it for 2 reasons. One, to let you know that even when you have a healthy relationship with food, even when you've done all of the healing, you will still have hiccups, right? And those hiccups do not make you good or bad, or you did right or wrong. it's literally an opportunity for you to reflect and to respond in a healthy way. So a lot of your progress is not dependent on whether you did or didn't do something. It's more so when you do something or things go off and when things aren't going perfectly, how do you respond? That is key to your success, okay? So that was one reason why I wanted to share it and to kind of show you that it can happen at any stage. And then the other reason was to kind of help you to really go through all of the things that could have happened or what I would have done or maybe had done in the past, but that I didn't do, and to give you some insight on what you can do when you eat past fullness. So, do you have crazy seasonal allergies and the traditional over-the-counter medications just don't work for you? Well, don't worry, because Gut Personal is coming to the rescue. No pun intended. Their new powerful support supplement is perfect for seasonal or year-round allergy symptoms so you can feel and breathe better. No more sneezing, tired, dry eyes, runny nose, or congestion. You'll love it if you have frustrating respiratory symptoms when the seasons change. You'll also love it if you're experiencing all of those symptoms that I just explained above. And the reason why the Rescue from Gut Personal is the perfect supplement to try, it's because it's a targeted blend of flavonoids, antioxidants, enzymes, and botanicals designed to provide support for symptoms caused by common environmental allergens. The Rescue includes quercetin, a powerful flavonoid to support healthy histamine levels, bromelain, which enhances the absorption of the quercetin and supports mucosal tissue health. You can also find bromelain in pineapple, but that's a sidebar. Stinging needle leaf, which balances hyperimmune response, and N-acetylcytosine. And guys, I am so sorry. I cannot pronounce these words properly, so please do not judge me or criticize me for that. Anyways, the N-acetylcytosine, sorry for the mispronunciation, it clears the airways of promoting those normal flows of mucus. So this powerful combination actively promotes healthy nasal and sinus passages for individuals with elevated histamine and respiratory irritation. So go to the link in the show notes to visit Gut Personal, get a bottle of the Rescue, and don't forget to use Tips with Tony 10 at checkout to save 10% or 20% off when you subscribe. Now back to today's episode. First thing that we can do when you eat past fullness is just let go of that guilt and shame. And I apologize. I don't know if you guys can hear. Of course, like every time I decide to record, there's just so much noise. Like I'm just going to vent for 5 seconds. I am not a city person, like at all. And the apartment I live in now, it's new, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. I'm obsessed with it, but it's literally right on a main road. And even though I'm technically in like a suburb area, it's on a main road, which is like more like city-like. And I miss my old town. Like I miss my old town so much. This is just so not for me. I get stimulated by loud noises. I'm very frustrated. Let me take a breath. I don't even know if you guys heard that, but I definitely did. So anyways, back to the episode. All right, so what do you do if you eat past fullness? So the first thing you need to do is let go of any guilt or shame. The older versions of me would have been beating myself up even while I was eating it and after I was eating it, even before eating it. I would have been thinking like, you shouldn't have this isn't good. Oh, well, you may as well just keep going. When I got to that fullness, I would have been like, okay, whatever, now I should just have dessert and everything, whatever, because, screw it, right? I feel guilty. I'm shameful. This is not a good idea. This was bad. So that never really leads to anywhere good. So those negative emotions are setting yourself up for failure, right? You really need to just let go of any guilt and shame. Remind yourself that you're human. It happens. Whether it was on a holiday, whether it was just any day, whether you were catching up with friends, whether you were alone, it literally doesn't matter. You are human. Let go of it, because that guilt and shame does not lead to anywhere good, right? So, the other part to that is like beating yourself up about it. It's not going to make it become undone. It happened. You have to accept that it happened, which leads to the next thing, which is rather than judging yourself for that it happened, you need to be proud of yourself. And why am I saying be proud of yourself? Identify areas of where you showed progress, because 99.9% of the time, most of us do not give us credit for things that are going well, and instead we shame ourselves for everything that's not going well, right? So we want to identify any areas where you may have showed progress. So in my particular example, I was like, I literally could not remember the last time I let myself get to that point. Like I really, guys, it must have been years, and maybe I'm missing points. Maybe it wasn't a full years ago. Maybe it was like a month ago or years ago. I don't know. It was not anytime soon. That last time I ate to the point where I was like, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable. I'm in legit a food coma. Like I can't even tell you that I did that on Thanksgiving, to be honest, because I really don't like the way that feels. Okay. Which is also probably why I felt it so much, right? If you're used to doing it all the time, you kind of get used to it. But when you don't do it all the time, you're like, what the heck? This is not comfortable at all, right? So identify the areas of progress, like the last time that it happened. Also, maybe like how you would have responded to it. So maybe older versions of you would have gotten to that point and been like, hey, fuck it, or excuse me, screw it, whatever. So I say excuse me because I know I can curse, but also I don't know if you're listening to this with your little loved ones, so I apologize. And then also, like, maybe you would have eaten, like I just said, maybe you would have eaten like way more, or maybe older versions of you would have decided to like go on a very restrictive diet the next day, or counted calories, or skipped meals, or done like a cleanse or a detox or whatever. And we'll talk about why you shouldn't do that in a second. So the next part is getting curious. So I don't want you to, and this is where I feel like I can be. No, I'm not going to say. I think a lot of great dietitians can really, really encourage you to be more mindful and introspective and all of that, which is, we're not saying to do this all the time and it doesn't matter. Like, clearly you don't feel well, so something is there that matters, right? So, because if it didn't bother you, then there would be no healing, right? But it's bothering you, so we got to get there. So the third thing is getting curious and really exploring what led to that moment. So why did it happen? Did you get caught up in the moment? Did you not eat enough prior? Were you tired? Was your mindset stuck on, I should, quote unquote, shouldn't be having this, so I'll start over tomorrow? So we know that mindset never leads to anywhere good, because it has this scarcity mindset of like, oh, I'm never going to be able to have this again, so I'm going to get as much as I can right now, right? That's never really helpful. In my particular situation, honestly, I just like really wanted the flavor of the food. Like, it just tasted so good, and I just really wanted it. What I could have done is waited and then reassessed like 20 minutes later, but I didn't, and it's fine. I learned from it. That's it. Maybe for some of you, you realize when you barely eat during the day, you overeat at night. Maybe you ignored your hunger cues, and that's why you overeat past fullness. That's super, super common as well. So just get curious with it instead of judgmental. Then we want you to let it go, okay? Meaning, you do not actually have to do anything as a result of it. You do not have to exercise excessively. You do not have to create a crazy meal plan or go on a rigid meal plan. You do not have to restrict your calories. You do not have to skip your meals the next day. You literally can just be. You don't have to jump to those extremes. If you want to go for a gentle walk, that's fine. If you need to lay down on your side, that's fine. If you would normally work out the next day, work out the next day, but you don't have to do 2-a-days, right? You don't have to beat yourself up for it. And if maybe you wake up and you're still full, that doesn't mean you skip breakfast, but maybe you push it back a little bit because you're full. But don't do that if you know that it just leads to, now you miss lunch and then your whole schedule's off. Like, the sooner you can get back to what makes yourself feel good, your usual routine of things, the better off you're going to be. All right? So, as a quick recap, when you eat past fullness, let go of guilt and shame, identify areas where you showed progress, get curious, and let it go. And if you want more tips or guidance on that, you can definitely make sure to follow me on Instagram at tips_with Tony with an I. And if you're looking for additional support, then I strongly encourage that you apply to the 6 Months of Food Freedom program, where you would be meeting with a dietitian on my team on a weekly or bi-weekly basis for 6 months, where you could actually create a more realistic, flexible, and structured plan where you're actually learning how to honor your hunger and fullness cues on a regular basis. And you have the support from your dietitian and myself as well, and even other members that are in the 6 Months of Food Freedom program, to really be there for you when maybe you do falter, maybe you are struggling, because that's normal. But our job is to help you pick yourself back up and get back on don't even want to say on track, just get back to the things that are helping you feel your absolute best sooner than later, right? And the sooner you do that, then you start to develop habits and you become what you repeatedly do, right? So you just become this healthier, balanced version of you who listens to their hunger and fullness cues and is just really, really proud of themselves and also doesn't beat themselves up when things go off track and they're not the best or they're not the way you had intended them to be. So make sure you go to tipswithtony.com/coaching to learn more about that program and apply. When you apply, I will reach out to you. We will schedule your discovery call. We'll do a Zoom call to make sure you're a good fit. And if you are, I'll invite you to the program. So if you have not applied yet, definitely go to tipswithtony.com/coaching to do so. And you will learn how to honor your hunger and fullness cues, among many, 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 many other incredible things to help you live a healthier and happier lifestyle. All right, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for listening. As always, this is Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.